Okay, so in this video, it's going to be a Fear the Walking Dead discussion video, talking about something that has been a topic for a long time now, for like at least over a year.
Yeah.
But it's sort of come to light more now. And it's if our Fear characters, our core characters in Fear the Walking Dead, Madison, Nick, Alicia and all that, if they're the Whisperers from the Walking Dead comics. And this video will obviously contain comic spoilers because we're talking about the Whisperers, who are a huge part of the comics. So if you don't like comic spoilers, then you may want to skip this video. So you have people saying Madison will become Alpha, you have people saying Alicia will become Lydia, I've seen people say that Nick can become Beta, which is just, come on, I mean, Beta's 7 foot tall, the guy is huge, like he's huge, he's like similar to the wrestler, WWE wrestler Kane, so there's no way Nick's going to become him, but there's just so many things that go against them becoming the Whisperers. Now the biggest point, which I spoke to David about yesterday, is we're going to be seeing the Whisperers in around season 9, at least season 9 of the Walking Dead TV series, right? And by that time we're still going to have Fear who's going on, it'll probably be around season 6 by then. Or season 5. So with us comic readers knowing what happens to the Whisperers, Alpha gets her head cut off and all this, and you know she dies and stuff like that. Why would we see her say Madison was Alpha? Why would we see her death in the TV series, in the Walking Dead TV series, but then carry on her prequel? Why would we see the fall of the Whisperers, but then still follow their prequel? It doesn't make sense. Because, I mean, maybe it can't just be me that if you know the ending of something, you're not going to want to see what's in between. Because quite frankly, you don't give a fuck what happens in between because you know the end result. So I don't see why they would make that happen, kill off Madison, who would be Alpha and all that good stuff. They would kill them in a TV series whilst the prequel is still going on. Because, you know, we won't care what goes on in Fear the Walking Dead because we know the end result. It just takes away the excitement. There's no mystery, which is another thing I'll go into. But it takes away the excitement of all of it. You know, you're not going to care what happens in Fear the Walking Dead because you don't care about the prequel because you know the end result. The end result is them dying, her head getting removed by Negan. That's the biggest point that just completely throws out the window for me, is that they wouldn't show the prequel of characters who have an end like that.
If anything, it also makes the show of Fear the Walking Dead seem so much smaller.
Yeah.
Than the original show. And I know it overall is smaller to us because everyone loves the original just like The Walking Dead, right?
Way more.
But Fear would just feel like such a small show. And it would, I don't think their plan is to go ahead with a Whisperer prequel and then end it, you know? It doesn't seem that way. The emotion of the characters, well, I know they're cold and stuff, but they're nothing like the Whisperers. Like, if going by what people are saying, like, oh, Alicia is Lydia and all this, and like, I could not see Madison being okay with rape and living like animals.
No.
I know Nick wants to be among walkers,
but not in that sense.
Not in the way of like raping. I know it can change you, like the world can change you, but not like that. No. I mean, we're meant to kind of relate to these characters, you know. They're our heroes, even though they're kind of dark and stuff. They're not Whisperer style, you know, and. That would just be so strange.
And I feel like at this point, no matter where they go with the story, to have someone like Nick, for example, who would let a group rape his sister when we know how much he cares about Alicia and stuff like that from what we've seen, it just doesn't make sense. No matter where they go with the storyline, I don't see them pushing Nick that far. It wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't be good writing in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, from what we've seen so far, the 3 seasons, there's nothing that can make Nick be okay with that or make Madison be okay with that. Fair enough, Madison seems like she cares more about Nick than Alicia, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's going to let that happen to Alicia. And also we have another thing that comes up, which I mentioned earlier, the mystery. It would take away.
That's one big 100% thing about the Whisperers that is so cool when they enter, and we already put comic spoilers at the beginning of this video, so we can say it. When the Whisperers first appear, right, in the comic, you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is Kirkman writing this? What the hell is he smoking? Because, like, what, walkers are talking? But like, that is creepy as shit. They could, in the show, make that so cool. They could throw us off and make that so scary. We don't know anything about them. I mean, especially like non-comic readers. They would be freaked out completely because they'll be like, what are these guys? What are they like? Like, who are they? We don't know anything about them. If you have a prequel to it, takes away all the mystery. Takes away everything. One thing in the comic right now that I'm interested in is like Beta hasn't even showed his face and stuff. Like, if they was to had a prequel and that and would know everything about them, it would kind of be like, well, we know how they got towards that. As for in the future, like in the comic, we could find out maybe how the Whispers formed and stuff. But having a prequel before they come, just to me, seems so strange. Like, it would be so disappointing.
The mystery would be gone 100%.
That's what makes them scary. It's the mystery. Yeah. How did they become like that?
We've never really had a scary moment, like a horror movie type scary moment in The Walking Dead, because that's not what The Walking Dead is usually about. But The Whisperers is probably the only moment in the TV series that would give us chills like that, because it would be so creepy. And if we saw the origin of that, it would completely take away from it. It really would. It would destroy it. I would confidently say it would destroy it, because you're not meant to know. You're not meant to know why they're like this, or you're not meant to know anything about them. That's the whole point.
Before they appear, especially. I mean, after, after I suppose you could do it, but even then it's a bit weird. I mean, I think the whole thing with the Whispers is keeping that mysterious thing there, and it's just not. The whole idea just to me seems so strange and weird. That theory, it's cool. People come up with theories and stuff, and it's when I first heard it, I was like, that's pretty interesting. But then when you deeply think about it and you carry on watching Fear, just the way that our Fear characters are when you're watching it just doesn't fit. Their personality just does not fit. It's one of those things where you look at it overall and think, cool theory. Yeah, it'd give you a minute or two of thinking, but then once you think of the ins and outs and the in-depth stuff about it doesn't fit. There's many problems. Like I said, with the biggest being that they wouldn't show a prequel to some. They wouldn't show a prequel when we already know the outcome. That would be like watching the end. I don't know, Game of Thrones, for example. If the whole series was over, you watched the end, the final episode, and then you went back to binge watch the rest of the season. There'll be no point. You know the end. I mean, you'd watch it for the fun of it. Well, you could say it'd be interesting. Watch prequels to shows all the time, but it would take away the excitement from it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Basically, they could do it, but it just seems so weird and it's so far fetched. There's no need. There honestly is no need for it, in my opinion. To keep fear, keep The Walking Dead exciting. You don't need to merge them. I mean, way in the future, if they ever met up, I mean, that'll be cool, right? But I mean, as for Whisperers, nah. It's too soon. It just seems very far fetched. Very far fetched. Yeah. Not to mention that the Fear time skip would have to. They have to do many time skips. Yeah, because we're almost 3 years into the apocalypse right now in The Walking Dead, and we're pretty much just at the beginning still. A couple of months. Yeah, we're not that far into it at all. So to do a huge time skip, things just don't add up. Another small thing would be that Lydia gets into a relationship with Carl, and Carl in the TV series in storyline wise, whereas he's 18 in real life, 17 in real life, he's 14 in the TV series technically. So. It doesn't make sense, and Alicia's meant to be 17, so it just doesn't add up. Now, I know there's many problems with it. People could say, well, Melissa could be a part of the group. She hasn't got to be alpha, and Alicia could be there and whatever. But overall, it just seems like it just doesn't need to happen. And I know the theory's still going to be out there. Are they the Whisperers? But there are many problems. If you go watch other YouTubers' videos too on Are They the Whisperers, you'll probably find points from all other Walking Dead YouTubers on why they think it's not the case as well. It just seems like that it would be kind of poor writing, really, because you don't need it. Yeah, Walking Dead will have the Whisperers, and it could be scary in its own. Yeah, why not have two separate things instead of fusing them together? You can have two interesting things instead of just fusing them together to make one interesting thing that is going to go wrong. A whole TV show just for a bunch of villains that end up dying anyway. Yeah, most of them end up dying anyway. I mean, it just seems like it's not needed. That would be pointless. Yeah, it'd be such a ridiculous thing to do. Like I said, one of the most exciting things about the Whisperers is how mysterious they are, and that will completely take away from it. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that just go against it. We wanted to do a video on this because I've seen it crop up a lot lately. It's top comments of most things. It probably will still go around, but we'll see. It's like the Enid and the spy thing, her being a spy, and I think that's still going on too. People think she's a spy for Negan, so there's going to be all theories out there, but that's why we think that the Fear group is not the Whisperers. So tell us what you think of it down below. If you have any points yourself, definitely put them in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think. Tell us what you think down below. Hope you enjoyed. Leave it a like, share it around, and as always, cheers for watching.